Colors are influential and might be described as a nudge. Red is passionate and intense. Orange is expansive and warm. Yellow is happy and idealistic. Blue is peaceful and confident. Welcome to my presentation on Thaler and Sunstein's book, Nudge, Improving Decisions About Health, Wealth, and Happiness. Have you ever been to the grocery store and realized things had been rearranged in the night? The paper products are where the vegetables once were, and the vegetables are where the cleaning supplies once were. You've been nudged. Choice architects are charged with the responsibility of organizing the context in which people make decisions. In other words, they contextualize decision-making, and no design is neutral, and seldom is it unplanned. The authors discuss the concept which is known as libertarian paternalism and maintain that both of these words reflect common sense. The libertarian aspect is a strategy which notes that people should be free to do what they like. The paternalistic part of the term is when choice architects may legitimately guide or influence people in their behavior for the good of the decision maker. Choice architects therefore attempt to move people or nudge them in a direction which will make their lives better. The example of libertarian paternalism they use is nudges are not mandated. However, putting the fruit at eye level is a nudge. Banning junk food is paternalistic control. Sometimes people make status quo decisions, and sometimes they make back to zero decisions. If, for example, an employee is supposed to choose an insurance option and they fail to do that on time, a nudge would be for the employer to keep the status quo or the same as before. This represents a default position. The alternative, which would not be in the employee's best interest, would be to drop their insurance altogether because no decision was made. The authors argue that libertarian paternalism can be aptly applied to public policy. There are two ways of thinking, or cognitive systems. One is intuitive and automatic, which works fast but sometimes contains errors. It's also known as the automatic system. I call it a knee-jerk reaction, or not a lot of thinking is involved. It is uncontrolled and effortless. These people fall into the category of doers and are concerned with immediacy. The other is reflective and rational, or is known as the reflective system, and by its nature is more deliberative. It is controlled and takes effort. These people fall into the category of planners. Unilaterally, neither way of thinking is healthy, and often one needs help from the others. Let's watch this animated video which explains the concept of being nudged. What we are discussing is behavioral economics, or combining psychological concepts to economic realities. Harvard Business Review has a series of articles based on applying behavioral economics to healthy choice making. Researchers observed that creating safe, low-cost ways to help employees be healthy and make healthy eating choices is not without its challenges. Through a joint study between Google Food Team and the Yale Center for Customer Insights, they arrived at what they termed the 4 P's of behavior change as it relates to healthy eating. The first P is process. These are changes or nudges in choice architecture via the presentation of options. The order of sequence or presentation matters. What is listed or seen first, second, and third. Next, control the defaults, which is a play upon the bias of status quo. Sometimes the better choice is the easier choice. And finally, make the best choice the most accessible. This goes back to the placement of food items at eye level. The second P is persuasion. Persuasion can take place by making certain items more or less appealing. Vividness, for example, through imagery, whether triggering delight or disgust, can appeal to Thaler and Sunstein's automatic thinkers. And comparisons in this study delivering the right message by highlighting trade-offs such as if-then choices. If I drink a soda, then I have to walk 2 hours to burn off the calories. The next P is possibilities. This refers to the set of choices being offered. Assortment. Giving more options, being careful of their place in the process, such as was described in the order or sequence. More of the assortment, but strategically placed. Next is bundling. Options are diplomatically paired, so to speak, to enhance decision making. And quantity. In the instance of diet, one can change the size of the quantity by changing the size of the plate. A person's view is tweaked to sway consumption. The last P is person. This is the most challenging level because it involves changing behavior across context and over time and without regard for location. These interventions include goals, meeting challenges over time, pre-commitment, helps to bolster a depleted willpower, and habits. This means sustaining and habitualizing good behavior. Another type of nudging, in addition to healthy food choices, is what is referred to as green nudging. As an example, in 1985, the Texas Department of Transportation asked an Austin, Texas advertising agency to create a slogan for an anti-littering campaign. The purpose was to reduce the $20 million spending bill for litter cleanup on Texas highways. Just as a choice architect knows what to shelf at eye level, the value of a carefully crafted message reminds us of the importance of understanding your audience for message reception. Linda Levitt, Texas DOT's current program manager for the campaign, noted at the time of the campaign's inception, people didn't think it was wrong. They assumed someone was going to clean up after them. The problem boiled down to personal responsibility, the average Texan's failure to see his or her contribution to the problem. Effective messages nudge people to make sound ecological choices and to maintain personal responsibility for the appearance of our world. The Don't Mess with Texas signs were displayed prominently on road signs of major highways, and local television stations flooded the airwaves with this message. The campaign is credited with reducing litter on Texas highways by roughly 72% between 1986 and 1990, and is one of the most awarded environmental campaigns of the last 25 years. This level of success also speaks to the power of identity, because once responsibility is established, a successful campaign calls for one to act because they can identify with their participation in the problem as well as their ability to participate in the solution. What is known as green nudges is said to be a promising new behavioral policy tool. Eco-labeling provides consumers with information on product characteristics to promote environmentally responsible behavior. Harnessing social identity, such as the Don't Mess with Texas campaign, which targets people's pride of community. People following the crowd or herd mentality has an influence on people's decision making. Knowing how much power your neighbor consumes is said to induce a competition of sorts. Do green nudges typically impact one's long-term behavior, or do you think that people do the right thing only when they are prompted? Should public policy support nudges? Does nudging compromise one's autonomy? And do nudges impede one's ability to be proactive in their decisions? Thank you for watching and listening, and I look forward to your comments on the discussion board.
Something to think about if you throw trash on Texas highways.